Hey y'all, Laura, Peaks for Pounds. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here to hopefully explain how I propose to thru-hike the Appalachian Trail in 2024. Well, going into it, I know I'm going to be slow, much slower than most, and I'm good with that. But that also means there needs to be a lot of planning on my part. Specifically, what direction am I going to be hiking in? Well, the only time frame I really have, the only deadline, is that Baxter State Park in Maine closes mid-October for the season due to weather. So that's the only target date that I have to beat. So that being said, there's three main ways that people thru-hike the Appalachian Trail. The most traditional, I should say. Seems like the most popular is a northbound hike, meaning it's also known as a no-bow, and you start at Springer Mountain, Georgia, and you hike north to Mount Katahdin, Maine, the northern terminus. A southbound hiker, also known as a sobo, starts in Maine and hikes south, likewise to Springer Mountain, Georgia, to finish their thru-hike. Then there's something known as a flip-flop hike, and that's where you hike one part of the trail in one direction and you turn around and you go in the opposite direction to finish up your thru-hike. For example, a flip-flopper might start in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, which is kind of the unofficial halfway point of the Appalachian Trail, and hike north to Mount Katahdin, get that part out of the way before the weather closes. Then they'll come back to Harper's Ferry and hike south as the weather starts to get cooler and end in Georgia at Springer Mountain. There's a number of other ways to do it as far as flip-flops. You can flip-flop at any point you want to flip-flop. So, what am I going to do? Well, where I stand right now is in mid-February, I'm going to start off at the southern terminus in Georgia at Springer Mountain. Makes sense to me. I live in Georgia, and it's convenient for me to get to that point of the trail. So I'm going to start northbound, and I'm going to hike as far as I can. I'm going to let the trail dictate to me which direction my thru-hike is going to end. I'm keeping it wide open, y'all. When I first started thinking about this, I'm like, oh no, I'm adamant. I want to be a no-bow thru-hiker. I want the big experience of summiting Mount Katahdin to be my grand finale. But you know what I want even more than that? I want to finish this thing. And so I have all the time in the world. A thru-hike is basically a thru-hike of the Appalachian Trail, means that you hike every single mile of this approximately 2,200 mile trail in one calendar year. So if I go northbound strictly, that gives me about mid-February, 7-8 months to get up there, maybe a little bit longer. But if I do it flip-flopping, I've got the whole entire year. Well, about 10 months of it, 10 and a half months of it. So I'm going to keep my options open, y'all. I'm not going to commit to anything, but I am going to start off as a no-bow hiker. And if I get stronger and if I get faster and if the trail keeps providing like I think it will, I'm going to continue in that direction and I will finish my hike in Maine. But if at some point I have to stop, I have to slow down, I'm not quite making pace, I am wide open to flip-flopping this thing. I'm in it to win it. It's about an experience. It's about following the entire trail, hiking all 2,200 miles or so, passing every white blaze. So that's the agenda. But I've also known, and I've also heard from a lot of you that are thru-hikers, that you can't overplan this thing. Stuff's gonna change, and I'm good with that. And hey, I wanted to say thank you, by the way, for all of y'all that tuned into my first video on why I'm gonna thru-hike the Appalachian Trail. And the support is unbelievable. I can't believe it. Over 1,000 subscribers from one video. Well, y'all are going to be my boost of confidence. So stick with me. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. And I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all in advance for your support. I know a lot of you that have hiked this trail have a lot of advice to give. And please feel free to do that. Leave it in the comments. And I appreciate you, and it's going to be quite the adventure. Stay tuned for more videos, including my gear choices. You can see I have my backpack here, my trekking poles, and I'm almost geared up. And there'll be a video coming on all of my selections, as well as training videos, what I am doing to get myself prepared. So thank you again, and until next time, happy trails.